Hey YouTube, how you doing? Biggie here. How is everything? And welcome to another movie review. Today's movie review I'm going to be reviewing today is a movie I really, without a doubt, enjoy. It's a solid gold classic, very enjoyable, at least in my opinion. Released in early 1953 from the Walt Disney Studios, Peter Pan. Yep. Peter Pan was released in early 1953, and it's directed by Hamilton Luske, Clyde Geronimi, and Wilfred Jackson, and, who also worked on other Walt Disney Productions works and movies. And Hamilton Luske's, I guess his brother also was in this. Tommy Luske, he voices, I don't know if it's family or related, but Tommy Luske voiced Michael Darling, one of Wendy's brothers. Anyway, the Peter Pan was released in 1953, like I said, and it's based on J.M. Barrie's 1904 play Peter Pan, or The Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up. And this movie was not just released in 1953, it was also re-released in 1958, 1969, 1976, 1982, and 1989. The film stars, may God rest his soul, Bobby Driscoll as the voice we all know of Peter Pan. He worked in other Disney films like Song of the South, So Dear to My Heart, and the 1950 live-action film Treasure Island, where he played Jim Hawkins. And this also has Kathryn Beaumont, who we all know voices Alice in Alice in Wonderland. She voices Wendy in this, Wendy Darling. She does a pretty good job in this. Also, it has Hans Conried as Captain Hook. He also does the voice of George Darling, which is Wendy's and her brother's father. And also actress Heather Angel is in this. She voices Mary Darling, the mother. And all the actors do a very good job in this. And the plot of this film takes place in Edwardian London, and it starts where Wendy and Wendy's mother and father, George and Mary Darling, make preparations to attend a party, and she tells her brothers John and Michael Peter Pan stories, Wendy does. And George is not too happy about it. He demands that she drop the stories and move out of the nursery, since sooner or later people would have to grow up. And one night Wendy and her two brothers right there, they got a special visit from Peter Pan and his fairy friend, we all know, pixie friend Tinkerbell. They fly into the bedroom and supposedly in pursuit of his rebellious shadow, and they take Wendy and her brothers on a trip from a far off place called Neverland, where children, they never grow up and they stay young, and they get to explore Neverland. And they meet the Lost Boys. Who also live with Peter Pan. They wear like different costumes, like animal costumes, like skunk, bear, and everything. And they eventually run into Peter's arch nemesis, we all know, Captain Hook, and his mate, Mr. Smee. I always thought Mr. Smee, he always looked like one of the dwarfs from the Walt Disney's 1937 film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Anyway, where Hook and his mate, Mr. Smee, and a pirate crew, the scene where Wendy's brothers and the Lost Boys get apprehended by the island natives, the Native American Indians, and they get accused of kidnapping the chief's daughter, Tiger Lily, but then Tiger Lily is recovered and rescued by Peter Pan, and Tiger Lily was kidnapped by Captain Hook and Mr. Smee so he can find Peter Pan. He was kidnapped her so he forced her to tell him where Peter Pan's hideout is, but she refused, and so he could get revenge on Peter for cutting his hand and off, and he feared that the crocodile possibly consumed it, knowing it was eager to eat the rest of him. And you would see that in the majority of the movie, the crocodile, wherever he would always follow Hook wherever he goes, like stalking him, and like, and he looks like he wants to eat him. He always had that hungry look on his face and everything, like he's like, and it's so funny. And he prefers him as a codfish, and that's what he was mostly called in the film, a codfish. In the end, after the boys and Wendy get rescued, they're like, Hook is a codfish, a codfish, a codfish. And I also remember Peter Pan's, her Tinkerbell, Peter eventually temporarily banished Tinkerbell because of her treachery and jealousy of Peter Pan's attention to Wendy. But then Peter and Tinkerbell reconcile, and there was a scene where Tinkerbell was banished. When she was banished, Captain Hook and Mr. Smee kidnapped her and then tricks her to help him find Peter Pan's lair to get revenge. And eventually he sets up a time bomb, but tried to get rid of Peter Pan and everything. After he put it in Peter's lair when Peter was gone, while Peter was hiding, and while Wendy and the boys got kidnapped, and but then eventually when the bomb went off, Peter and Tinkerbell survived it. And I was not crazy over that scene. That bomb scene, I don't know, but other than that, I like the rest of the movie, and that's where, yep. Oh yeah. And eventually Peter fights Hook, and he tells Hook to leave and never return. It was a sword fight, and then he tells Hook to say he's a codfish, and he yells, I'm a codfish! And Wendy and the boys are yelling, Hook is a codfish, and that alligator was watching, looking at him. He's like, and the scene where Hook almost fell in but then missed, and then the alligator just goes like, and because he missed, and he goes like, because he wanted, and he with his tongue like he was in a hungry manner and everything. And then eventually Smee and the pirates and Hook, they leave and get away. And also Wendy and her brothers return home by Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, and that's when her parents found Wendy sleeping in the nursery with an open window, and she tells excitedly about their adventures, and the parents look out the window and what appears to be a pirate ship in the clouds, and George, the father, starts remembering he went to Neverland as a boy. And they play that song in the end, which was in the beginning when Peter took Wendy and the boys to Neverland. That song, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly. I love the music in this movie. Also, I wanted to mention there was a scene with a dog named Nana in this, kind of like she would do like things like kind of like a human nanny, like she was like a dog nanny to the human, like she would do things like humans would, like human nannies would and everything. And she had to sit in the doghouse too, but yeah. Other than that, it's a great movie. It's got a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 7.3 out of 10 on IMDb, and it was originally, like I said, it's from Walt Disney Pictures, Walt Disney Productions. It was originally released by RKO Radio Pictures. Yeah, RKO Radio Pictures, before Disney founded his own distribution company. And this also, like I said, this is a classic. I mean, also, this movie had a budget of over $4 million, and it made over $87.4 million at the box office, probably from not just the 1953 release, probably from all those times it was re-released back in the day. And also, like I said, it's just a good movie. If you've never ever seen Peter Pan before, you're missing out. You need to see it. Also, years later, there would be a sequel, an animated sequel to it that was also released in theaters. It was released in 2002, and this is one of the... I really love sequels. I mean, depending on what it is. I mean, it's called Return to Neverland, Peter Pan, a.k.a. Peter Pan 2. And I will talk more about this film when I review this film in the future. So, like I said, if you've never seen Peter Pan before, I recommend you go check it out. It's just enjoyable. All right, YouTube. Nice seeing you. Take it easy. Be safe. Stay out of trouble. Peace.